All right, guys, we're back again. Back to Because of Winn-Dixie. We are now at the end. I'm going to read the last two chapters. We know right now that Winn-Dixie ran off. He has a fear of thunderstorms. But we realized also that Opal and her dad, they've come to understand each other a lot more. Her dad is so grateful that the one thing that the mother did leave behind and did not take with her was Opal. Opal and her father have come to a new understanding about each other. I think a lot of times we go through hard things and we come out of it a bit stronger and a bit closer to the people that went with us through it. So right now we're still at the party. Opal and her dad are coming back from looking for Winn-Dixie and all that rain. Everybody else is still back at Gloria Dump's house, kind of having their party inside because it was raining a whole deal outside. So we're on chapter 25 of Because of Winn-Dixie. We heard the music before we even got back to Gloria Dump's house. We heard it almost a block away. There was a guitar playing and singing and clapping. I wonder what was going on, my father said. We walked up to Gloria's sidewalk and around the back through her yard and into her kitchen, and there we saw Otis playing his guitar. And Miss Franny and Gloria sitting there smiling and singing, and Gloria was holding Sweetie Pie in her lap, and Amanda and Dunlap and Stevie were sitting on the kitchen floor, clapping along and having the best possible time. Even Amanda was smiling. I couldn't believe they were so happy when Winn-Dixie was missing. We didn't find him, I shouted. The music stopped. Gloria Dump looked at me and said, Child, we know you didn't find him. You didn't find him because he was here all along. She took her cane and poked at something under her chair. Come on out of there. There was a snuffle and a sigh. He's asleep. He is plumb worn out. She poked around with her cane again, and Winn-Dixie stood up from underneath her chair and yawned. Winn-Dixie, I hollered. Dog, croaked Gertrude. Winn-Dixie wagged his tail and showed me all his teeth and sneezed. I went pushing past everybody. I dropped to the floor and wrapped my arms around that dog. Where have you been? He yawned again. How did you find him? Well, there's now a story, said Miss Franny. Gloria, why don't you tell it? Well, we was all getting around waiting for you two, and after I convinced those Dewberry boys that I ain't no scary witch all full of spells and potions. Yeah, she ain't no witch, Stevie said. He shook his head. He kind of looked disappointed. Nah, she ain't. And if she was, she would have turned us into toads by now. I could have told you that she wasn't a witch. Witches don't exist, said Amanda. They're just a myth. Oh, all right now, said Gloria. What happened is we got all through them witchy things. And then Franny said, why don't we have a little music to play while we wait for you guys to get back? And so Otis played his guitar and woo-wee! There ain't a song that man don't know. And if he don't know it, he can pick it up real quick after you hum it to him. That Otis has a gift. Gloria stopped and then she smiled over at Otis. He looked all kind of funny and happy inside. Tell what happened, Sweetie Pie said. Tell him about the dog. So, said Gloria, Franny and me were starting to thinking about all those songs we knew about when we were girls. When we got Otis to play them, and we started singing them and teaching the words to the children, and then somebody sneezed. Yeah, somebody sneezed, Winn-Dixie shouted. That's right. Somebody sneezed, and it wasn't none of us. So we looked around wondering who did, and we looked around, and we didn't see nothing, so we started singing again. And sure enough, there was another big ha-choo, and it sounded like it was coming from the bedroom. So I said, Otis in there? I said, you go in there and you see who's sneezing. So Otis went. And you know what he found? Yep, he found Winn-Dixie, shouted Sweetie Pie. That dog of yours was all there underneath my bed, squeezed under there like the world was about to end. But he was smiling like a fool every time he heard Otis play the guitar. My daddy laughed then. It is true, Miss Franny said. It's the truth, said Stevie, and Dunlap nodded and smiled right at me. So, Gloria Dump said, Otis played his guitar right next to that dog, little by little. That Winn-Dixie came creeping out from underneath the bed. He was covered in dust, said Amanda. He looked like a ghost, said Dunlap. Yeah, said Sweetie Pie, just like a ghost. Mm-hmm, said Gloria. Looked just like a ghost. Anyway, the storm stopped after a while and your dog settled in under my chair and fell asleep. And that's where he's been ever since, just wanting you to come back and find him. Winn-Dixie, I hugged him so tight he wheezed. We were out there whistling and calling for you. We were there the whole time. You were here. Thank you, I said to everybody. Well, said Gloria Dump, we didn't do nothing. We just sat here and waited and sang some songs. We all got to be good friends. Now, the punch ain't nothing but water, and the egg salad's got all torn up by the rain. You got to eat them with a spoon if you want to have egg salad. But we got pickles to eat, and we've got Litmus lozenge, and we still got a party going on. My daddy pulled out a kitchen chair and sat down. Otis, he said, do you know any hymns? I know some. You hum it, said Miss Franny. I bet he can play it if you hum it. So my daddy started humming something, and Otis started picking it up with his guitar, and Winn-Dixie wagged his tail. And I could see, I looked around the room at all the different faces, and I felt my heart swell up inside with pure happiness. I'll be back in a minute, I said. But they were all singing now and laughing, and Winn-Dixie was snoring, so no one even heard me. Chapter 26. Outside, the rain had stopped, and the clouds had gone away, and the sky was so clear it seemed like I could see every star up in the sky. I walked all the way to the back of Gloria Dump's yard, and I walked back there and I looked at her mistake tree, the tree with all the bottles in it. The bottles were quiet. There wasn't a breeze, so there was no use of them hanging. They were just hanging there. And I looked at it and I looked up at the sky. And I said, Mama, just like she was sitting right there beside me, I know 10 things about you. And that's not enough. That's not near enough. But Daddy's going to tell me more someday. I know he will now that he knows that you're not going to come back. He misses you and I miss you too, but my heart doesn't feel empty anymore. It's full all the way up. I'm going to still think about you. I promise I'll think about you. Probably not as much as I did this summer. That's what I said that night underneath Gloria Dump's mistake tree. And after I was done saying it, I stood there staring up at the sky, looking up at the constellations and the planets. And then I remembered my own tree, the one Gloria had helped me plant. I hadn't looked at it for a long time. I went crawling around on my hands and knees searching for it. I found it. I was surprised how much it had grown. It was still small. It still looked more like a plant than a tree. But the leaves and the branches felt real strong and good and right. And I was down there on my knees when I heard a voice say, Are you praying? I looked up. It was Dunlap. No, I'm not praying. I'm thinking. He crossed his arms and looked down at me. What about? All kinds of things. I'm sorry that I called you and Stevie bald-headed babies. That's all right. Gloria told me to come out here and get you. I told you she wasn't a witch. I know it. I knew it all the time. I was just teasing you. Oh, and I looked at him real close, and it was hard to see him good in this dark yard. Ain't you ever gonna stand up? Yeah. And then he surprised me. He did something I never in a million years thought a Dewberry boy would do. He put his hand out and helped me up. And I took it. I let him pull me up to my feet. You know what? I'll race you back to the house, Dunlap said, and he started to run. Okay, but I'm warning you, I am fast. We ran, and I beat him. I touched the corner of Gloria Dump's house right before he did. You shouldn't be running in the dark, said Amanda. She was standing on the porch looking at us. You could trip over something. Aw, Amanda, said Dunlap, and he shook his head. Aw, Amanda, I said too, and then I remembered Carson, and then I felt bad for her. So I went up on the porch, and I took hold of her hand, and I pulled on her. Come on, I said, let's go inside. India Opal, Daddy said when me and Amanda walked in. Are you here to sing some songs with us? Yes, sir, only I don't know that many songs. Well, we're going to teach you. He smiled at me real big. It was a good thing to see my daddy smile. That's right, said Gloria Dump. We will. Sweetie Pie was still sitting on her lap with her big eyes, but they were closed. Care for a Litmus lozenge? Miss Franny asked, passing me the bowl. Thank you, I told her, and I took a litmus lozenge and I unwrapped it and I put it in my mouth. Do you want a pickle? Otis asked, holding up his big jar of pickles. No, thank you. Not right now. Winn-Dixie came out from underneath Gloria Dump's chair. He sat down right next to me and leaned into me the same as I was leaning into my daddy. And Amanda stood there right beside me. And when I looked over at her, she didn't look pinch-faced at me at all. And then Dunlap, he cracked his knuckles and said, well, are we going to sing or what? Yeah, Stevie echoed. Are we going to sing or what? Let's sing, said Sweetie Pie, opening her eyes, sitting up straight. Let's sing for the dog. Otis laughed and strummed his guitar, and the flavor of the litmus lozenge opened up in my mouth like a flower blooming all sweet and sad. And then Otis and Gloria and Stevie and Miss Franny and Dunlap and Amanda and Sweetie Pie and my daddy all started to sing a song. And I listened carefully so I could learn it just right. Guys, that's the end of Winn-Dixie. That's the end of Because of Winn-Dixie. It's a powerful story. Let's remember, you can read this book again at home, or as you get older next year, you might want to read it independently. You can also watch the movie. But what's great about this story is that this story really tells us a lot about people and relationships. I liked it when she talked about the 10 things. Maybe you can make a list of 10 things you know about yourself, or 10 things you know about someone really important to you. Do you know those 10 things? For right now, you guys, again, favorite children's author of mine, Kate DeCamilla. What another good read aloud we've done for this school year. Have a great day, you guys, okay? Be safe.